That buck is floating away.
I'm Sam Fernandez. I'm from Florence, Montana. I've been friends with Dan for the last 3 years. Met him at a TAC up at Big Sky and invited him down here to do some river bottom hunting.
We're in Montana. It's November 10th. I'm gonna bring you guys along. We're gonna be hunting whitetails, archery, western side of the state, a mix of ag, river bottom, classic whitetail country. Gonna hop in a tower blind tonight, kind of get an observation on this land, get a vibe on the deer. Could be some big bucks out here, could just be okay bucks, not sure, we're gonna find out. Good evening. I'm getting out early. I need to put out 2 ground blinds. I don't know exactly where to put them yet, but I got a couple of good little spots. So I'm getting out a little early. Definitely one dominant buck that was hanging out 200 yards. He's the biggest buck I've seen. He's running the show, but there's more deer in here.
Here in western Montana, we have a plethora of whitetail deer in the valleys. And they like to populate especially private land mostly. There's a couple of areas where you can hunt them on public land. Those do get hammered pretty hard, but on private land especially, the deer group up and there are thousands of them. You never know what you'll run into. You could see as many as 200 deer in a day in some areas. So they do get pushed around a lot on the public land, but still always an opportunity. I've killed almost all of my whitetail bucks on this river bottom unit here in western Montana, and for the last 10 years have spent almost all of my chances that I get in November to get out on the river bottom chasing river bottom bucks. It's a blast. I hunted the first few years up until 3 years ago, from 2014 to 2022, on the ground only, rattling and spot and stalking deer. I was successful, killed a few, very challenging, blew a lot of stocks, but in the last few years I've gotten into saddle hunting and tree stand hunting, and that has increased my success rate a lot, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to watch the deer come in, pattern them, and kind of make a play instead of just crawling around the woods spooking deer all the time. Yeah, the amount of deer in this area means that the size of the bucks isn't going to be, trophy class all the time. There are some bigger ones hanging around, but when you have this many deer just packed into the river bottom, the amount of deer is amazing. You will see a ton of different deer, but you're not going to see, the 150, 160, 180 class bucks all the time. the places, especially private property, if they haven't managed, if they haven't allowed hunters or guided or something, allowing people to come in and take deer, you're going to see a lot of like 110-inch deer. 120, 130 will be the bigger side of most of the area. And you'll see, like today, I think I saw probably 7 or 8 small 4-point, or between that and a spike. They are everywhere. Like, we spooked up on our drive out to where we ended up saddling, and our drive in. We spooked up 7 or 8 bucks, spike to 4-point, small 4-point. And that's typically what I see, even, on public land too. You'll see a good amount of small bucks. If they make it to 120, that's what we call a shooter here in the Bitterroot.
I set up on a scrape and sat the blind. Day 1, he came into the scrape, passed, rattled in quite a few bucks this week. I did see a couple nicer bucks, but on day 3, towards the evening, he came into the scrape on his way out of the bedroom, and I tried to stop him, like, meh, meh, and he stopped, got to the click, and just when I was getting ready to break, he started to lean and take that step. So my shot was back a little, but I liked the angle, if you guys can tell. But here's the shoulder crease. That's like 2 inches. This is the exit on the Evolution Outdoor Hide. I didn't use the Whitetail Fury. I have 2 more doe tags. I'm gonna set up a blind after I break him down. But anyways, I shot him towards the evening and I watched the footage, and honestly on camera it looks terrible, but I was telling myself, the camera's not positioned where you're shooting. That's probably a quartering away shot. This buck did not go 100 yards from the shot, but I left him overnight and he died in the drink in the river. So I just pulled him out of the river. Meat's good to go. I'm gonna break him down. We got a tag notched here in Montana for our buck, and now we can shoot 2 does. And yeah, I'm happy. This is a good deer. Arc 30. X10 Parallel Pro, Evolution Outdoor Hide. This is the screw-in, not the glue-in. That's the entrance with the Whitetail Fury. So, good blood trail, didn't go far, doe tag punch, 1 more to go.
Dan pulled up Onyx on his phone, put a pin about where we would kind of guessed where we'd want to saddle up in. Turned on the wind indicator. It was coming out of the south, so we knew that we'd have to kind of make an entry and then circle to kind of give us the best chance of playing the wind as the deer are coming down the corridor.
This is how picky are you gonna be?
I'm not gonna be super picky.
Yes! We're gonna film Sam. He's got a doe tag and a buck tag. We got permission on this piece, and the landowner said nobody hunts this side or has ever hunted this side that he knows of. And I want to know who made that rub. Yeah, just set up right here. So we got a busy highway, a housing development. We're gonna be doing a little bit of Seek 1 right now. And let's go.
It was exactly on. We got out there, we checked the wind. It was coming up from the south, just like Onyx said it was. Picked a couple of trees to set up in, and this is the third saddle sit I've done this year, so I was a little out of practice. Dan was up in his tree and playing on his phone, and I was still setting up sticks, cutting away branches. He was laughing at me just because I was considerably slower getting up, but...
Okay, we are. There's a little island, I think a lot of the deer bed there, and they're gonna wanna come here. And I think bucks use this as a travel corridor, so Sam's gonna rattle his buns off. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I want to know what buck made that rub, so when he's ready, we'll get to saddle in and see what we can see.
Finally did get set up, got all the branches cleared, so I had multiple area shooting lanes. Kind of picked the area based on it was, there was a line of really thick, like willowy, brushy, kind of like where bucks like to travel on a scrape line, and then there was the river, and I could see a trail coming down the edge of the river, so it was like, well, whether they're on the scrape line or they're coming down the river, we're gonna have a chance at making a shot. And as soon as I finally got the last 2 branches cut away, got my platform set, and like got comfortable in my saddle, I turned around and there was a buck coming down the scrape line, and you know, let Dan know, and the buck kind of disappeared into the thick brush. I got a grunt out, gave him a couple of calls. He came out of the brush and was still on that scrape line, and so I grunted at him again, and he came right in on top of us. The wind wasn't even the best. I think it partially being so high up in the tree, we got up probably higher than 15 feet, and he kind of caught some movement and got a little bit curious as he poked his head around a tree, but I'd already been able to draw my bow as he went behind a big pine tree. And at 15 yards, he was a little quartered too. I aimed right on that shoulder. I'm shooting 80 pounds. I have a 462 grain arrow with the Evolution hide, and I knew that it would go through any bone. On that deer, and it did. It shot, and he kind of tucked a little bit, and it hit bone, and it went all the way through top of the heart and buried in the ground. But then that's when things got interesting, because he ran about 30 yards and stopped at the edge of the river, and then died and rolled into the river. And the rain has been coming down all last night, swelled the river pretty good. And as soon as he rolled into the river,
buck is floating away.
I was like, well, I didn't look that deep, but I should get down and check as fast as I can. And so I jumped out of the tree as fast as I could, got down, and when I got to where the buck had disappeared, he was gone. There was no buck and was kind of worried that he would had sank to the bottom, wasn't sure where he was, and I looked down the river about 100 yards, and there's my buck floating in the river. And the river made a couple of bends, and I could see one area where there was a little riffle, or it looked like that. It looks like it's shallow right there. So I just sprinted as fast as I could along the riverbank. Had to cross a little swamp on the top of sandbags. Thankfully, those sandbags were there, or else I would have been up to my chest in water. The buck got caught on a little root ball and gave me time to catch up to it. And then just as it was coming into that riffle, I made it and was able to grab him in knee-high water.
That's the man.
That's done.
We sat this saddle for 5 minutes.
Like, it took me an extra hour. After Dan got done, he was waiting for me to be done. I'm a little slower getting the saddle set up, but it's no joke. I was done cutting the last branch to get clearance from my bow, and that buck showed up.
And then I look at you and I'm like, can you grunt? And you're like, yep. Couple grunts.
Yeah, 2 grunt
He
calls. And
popped out, and then I didn't know if you were gonna shoot him. And then the closer he got, the more I saw that he was like big and broke off.
Yeah.
And then you shot him right behind me here. Like, so we are at Sam's tree, and I'm gonna stand right here. He came out, and I think I have it on video. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
I'm staring through the tiny viewfinder because I was on manual focus,
okay, yeah.
and I had him. That was nuts. I almost want to just.
Sit and see what comes out.
Yeah, I just feel like another freak's gonna show up here. This is such a good spot.
Yeah, that's why I picked it.
That's my friend Sam. He's tagged out in Montana. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll finish the video with showing you the buck up close. All right, we're loaded up. We're gonna go get the buck, but we want to show the blood on the hide. This is probably where he died.
Yeah. And then he just rolled right into the river right there.
Here, and this is where he died right here, probably.
Yep.
And then
Right
that,
here, and then he fell on this bank and then just.
the way he went. Heck yeah, dude.
And pull him to safety. So the recovery was actually more difficult than the entire hunt, because we were literally set up for 5 minutes when that buck came in, and then he came in perfectly to the grunts. I mean, just stopped at 15 yards. Like, you can't plan something like that. It was an amazing, just God providing an opportunity for me. I've had a rough season as far as chasing elk, and it felt very just fortunate and blessed the way that went down. And this was the same situation where I made a long setup in my saddle. It took me forever to get set up, and as soon as I was done and ready to go, the buck came in and provided a shot. So just an awesome day of hunting here with Dan.
Gone, 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 broken, broken, broken.
Double brow,
Danced on me. I mean, stepped on me.
little double time.
Yeah. Just a funky, broken guy. Fighter. You can't place it any better than that.
The hide does a yeah, he was literally dead before he hit the water.
Dan, you're the man. Thank you so much for your help this week. I can't tell if I'm recording anymore. If I am, you're awesome. Separation is in the preparation. H. Gets rid of hemorrhoids.